The art of mindful digital consumption introduction. Today's humanity lives in a unique era. Never before have information flows been so abundant, accessible, and simultaneously overwhelming. Every day, modern individuals encounter vast amounts of digital content, from work emails and news headlines to endless social media feeds and entertainment platforms. This makes us both witnesses and participants in an invisible yet global cultural revolution. The revolution of information consumption. The paradox lies in the fact that as opportunities grow, so do problems. Digital addiction, reduced concentration, loss of time perception, and emotional burnout. That is why the topic of mindful digital consumption is becoming increasingly relevant. It is not only about personal comfort, but also about preserving mental health, quality of life, and the capacity for deep thinking. This study aims to explore the art of mindful digital consumption in its multi-layered nature, from psychological mechanisms and cultural context to practical tools and philosophical reflections. Point 1. The digital environment and its impact on human social networks. And the infinite scroll effect. Social networks have become a kind of public square of the 21st century. Here people communicate, express themselves, seek news, and even work. However, the mechanics of these platforms are designed to capture attention for as long as possible. Infinite scroll algorithms adapt to user interests, generating a flow of content that is nearly impossible to stop voluntarily. The infinite scroll effect is based on the brain's constant expectation of one more interesting post or one more useful video. This resembles gaming mechanics, where the next move always promises a reward. As a result, people lose track of time and fall into the trap of endless scrolling. News flows and information-fatigued modern media produces such a volume of news that it far exceeds the human ability to process it. Its constant consumption of news streams leads to the phenomenon of information fatigue, anxiety, a sense of helplessness, and difficulty distinguishing between the important and the trivial. The phenomenon of doom scrolling, endlessly consuming negative news, has become a symbol of the digital age. People often continue reading about crises, disasters, and scandals, even while realizing that it worsens their emotional state. This is a clear example of unmindful digital consumption. Advertising and digital manipulation. Personalized advertising. Algorithms use users' behavioral data, turning digital space into a constant field of manipulation. We don't just choose products, they are suggested to us at the exact moments when the likelihood of purchase is highest. This creates a sense of lost freedom of choice and the illusion that desires arise within us, while in reality they are artificially stimulated too. The psychology of digital consumption. Dopamine. Traps at the core of digital addiction is dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for the brain's reward system. Likes, notifications, and new messages activate the dopamine system, creating a short-term sense of pleasure. However, the effect fades quickly. Individuals return for another dose of stimulation. In this way, digital platforms reproduce a model similar to slot machines. Users never know exactly when they will receive a reward, making the process even more addictive. The digital fast food effect. Modern content is often compared to fast food. Flashy, quick but not deeply nourishing. Short videos, memes, and shallow headlines create a habit of superficial information consumption. People snack on data without receiving any substantial intellectual nutrition. In the long run, this leads to reduced concentration and a loss of the habit of engaging with long texts and deep reasoning. Effects on concentration and memory. Constant switching between notifications, tabs, and apps reduces the ability to focus for extended periods. The brain adapts to fragmented information processing, diminishing the ability to sustain attention on a single task. Studies show that after interruptions, it can take up to 25 minutes to fully regain focus. This affects not only productivity but also memory quality. Information is poorly absorbed as attention remains scattered. 3. Mindful digital consumption principles. Of mindful consumption, mindful digital consumption is the ability to manage one's attention and time in the digital environment. Its key principles include purpose. Before opening an app or website, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Choice. Consciously select sources of information and content worthy of your time. Balance. Find equilibrium between online and offline life. Boundaries. Set limits on when and how devices are used. Digital detox practices. Digital detox involves intentionally refraining from using gadgets or social media for a set period. This could be a phone-free day or an entire vacation with minimal digital engagement. The goal is to restore inner balance and reconnect with real life. Digital diet and information filtering. Much like a food diet, a digital diet implies choosing healthy products, in-depth articles, lectures, books, and rejecting informational junk. To achieve this, use reading apps that track time spent, eliminate sources that trigger anxiety or irritation, create an information menu for the day. 4. Tools and strategies. Digital hygiene. Digital hygiene involves simple practices: adjusting notifications, disabling unnecessary alerts, planning device usage, for example. A. No phones at the table rule. Organizing workspaces, using separate devices for work and leisure. Tracking. Apps. Numerous apps allow users to track screen time and provide analytics about attention patterns. Such data helps to raise awareness and adjust behavior accordingly. Curating information sources. One mindful strategy is to create a personal information ecosystem. This means consciously choosing trusted media, bloggers, and experts, while rejecting chaotic consumption. Such an approach fosters a sense of control and reduces noise. 5. Social and cultural context. Collective influence of digital habits. Digital behavior is not solely a personal matter. It shapes social norms. Mass adaptation to fast news and shallow formats affects politics, culture, and education. When most people lose the habit of reading long texts, public discourse becomes more primitive. Mindfulness as a new cultural norm. Mindful digital consumption is gradually becoming part of the global cultural agenda. Companies introduce focus modes. Schools teach digital hygiene, and artists explore information overload in their works. This shows that culture is actively seeking new ways to restore balance. The future of digital consumption. It is reasonable to predict that mindfulness will become an essential component of digital literacy in the future. Just as the 20th century was about learning to read and write, the 21st will be about learning to manage attention and information flows. Artificial intelligence, personal assistants, and new interfaces may help filter data, but the responsibility for choice will remain ours. Conclusion: the art of mindful digital consumption is not a trend, but a necessity. We cannot stop technological progress, but we can choose how to engage with it. In a world where attention has become the most valuable currency, the ability to manage it is the defining skill of the modern age. Striking a balance between usefulness and overload is the main goal of mindful consumption. Conscious approach. 2. Digital content helps not only reduce anxiety and increase productivity, but also restore a sense of freedom and choice. Every step toward mindfulness is a step toward a healthier and more harmonious digital culture.